right, greetings, guys. Another term here that we are starting, and I want to do some updating here. There's a few changes, and definitely want to make sure we cover everything going forward because we are having certain classes here at the campus. Excited about that. We're getting there, and having some still online. So just to make sure we're clear on a lot of things, I'm going to go over some of our policies for the class. I'm going to go ahead and split this up into two videos this time, just because this first one will cover all my classes on the set policies for turning in things and the grades and everything, and then do a video for your each individual class, because I want to make sure that turning things in were as clean and precise as possible this term. So make sure you watch both videos fully because they are different than the ones in the past. And also, it's going to be very imperative that we use this going forward, because where we're here on campus now and having to do both, time's going to be very limited for us. So we got to make sure everything is in on time and doing those things. So want to go through this. First thing is your grades. Okay, so the way that grades are done in all your classes will be 70% are your test scores and 30% is all your assignments. Okay, so your test scores will account for 70% of your grade and your assignments will count for 30%. Now the best way to describe this is that because it can be a little confusing in the way of you think, well, I did all my assignments, but I have a really low grade. And it really shows up at the beginning, because what will happen is a lot of times, not a lot of times, but it comes up a few times where we have like 2 or 3 assignments to begin the first week, and then we have a test maybe that end of that first week or the beginning of the second week. And students have turned in the 3 assignments, but then missed their tests for that first day. Well, because your test is such a big portion of your grade, you could have an A, and then because you didn't turn that test in, drop all the way down to an F really quickly, especially at the beginning, because there's not many grades to average that out. So I want to kind of calm some of that panic when that happens, because it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I failed the class right away. There's things that we'll go through that you can make sure you're staying up and keeping your grade up, and so I want to go through that. Now, as far as when you're done with the whole class, it makes a little more sense with how this breaks down. So let's say you did all your assignments all term long. You turned them in, no late penalties, you had everything in, you got perfect scores. And so let's say you had 100% on your assignment grades. But then let's say the test, maybe you missed a few here and there, and your total average from all the tests was like a 90, okay? So let's say on the test, you got like 100 on one, maybe 80 on one, and 90 on one, and it all averaged out to where you had about a 90% on the test, okay? But you turned in all your assignments, so you had 100% on all your assignments, okay? They do not take those two and average them and get a 95, okay? That's because these are weighted grades. We do that because really this is a performance-based school where you are receiving your diploma from the work that you do and the knowledge that you receive in these 8 weeks. So based on that, it's a testing score where you pass a test. Now, don't worry, we have our success rate is great. You guys put in the work and you will do well. But just to show you how the grading works, this does not average out to a 95, because the tests are worth more than the assignments. And I'm going to address that here in a second, where really you can't have good test scores unless you keep up with your assignments. It's harder. So how this would work, just real quick, and I'm not going to get deep into the math, but basically you would multiply this to where you get a 63, you would multiply this to where you get 30, and it would actually average out to a 93, okay, instead of a 95. So that kind of gives you an idea of how that works. Now, let's say it was the other way around, and you got 100 on the test, and you only turned in about 90% of the assignments. Then it's a little bit different because you actually did better because you aced all your tests, so you would end up with a 97. Okay, so that's kind of a quick math part of it, but you don't have to worry so much about that. Just know that that's how it works. Now, what I was talking about, like if you hadn't turned in a test and that 0, the best you could do is a 30% because you turned in no test. Okay, so the tests are very, very important. That's the main thing I want to press here. Make sure you are turning in your test, especially at the deadline, and so that you are, keeping up with that, the most. Now, I do, like I said earlier, it's hard to get good test scores when you've not done any of the assignments, especially in some of the more challenging classes, like some of the math classes. If you have not kept up with the changes in what's going on in the math throughout the week, the test is going to be really difficult. So even though these may not be worth as much points, to get a good score on the test, it's much better if you keep up with the daily assignments. So that leads me to my next point, and that is I am running into a little bit, especially in some of the creative classes that I've taught, like music and film and literature, that, and I know busy work schedules, different things happening, that sometimes you'll go a little while and then go back and try to do your assignments. That's fine, as far as if that's your only option and you're doing that. I will caution though that it makes it much more difficult to keep things organized and keep them turned in that way. And you're gonna find too that when you do that over, certain, especially I've had it happen where it's maybe a week or 2 weeks of assignments, that it really makes it difficult to get a good grade on all those. It makes it difficult to know the changes in the class. I highly encourage you to each day check in and see the assignment for the day. Now, there may be times you check in and start it and think, wow, I really need to put some more time and I don't necessarily have the time that day, but it's good to at least check in and make sure you are staying up on that class. Every day there will be a assignment posted. Now I say that I will always, let me put it this way, every day there'll be an announcement with the teaching materials. So every day there's, on the announcement stream of your Google Classroom, there will be like, hey, here is today's assignment, here's the videos I want you to watch, here's my videos of me talking, or here's a video that I found and that goes along with what we're learning. And you will watch that, or you will read the assignment, depending if it's film and literature and you have to read the assignment of that day. And then I will say, this is what you have to do for the attendance and for the assignment. Now, most days there is an actual assignment, like answer these questions, or in math, maybe do this worksheet that I have, or do these problems at the end of the video. Every day there will be that assignment. Every once in a while, I will put, hey, I just want you to watch this video, or I want you to read this material and comment that you did that. Okay, meaning I need to know that you did that to count you present for that day, but there's nothing to turn in. That's the exception, meaning that doesn't happen as often as, hey, I need you to turn this in. So that's why it's important every day, because otherwise you start to run into like, oh, which day was this? And it gets a little more difficult to keep those tracks. Not impossible, but it does make it a little bit more challenging. So I would encourage you to check in every day and read that announcement and see what you have to do for that day. Okay, now, deadlines. We don't really necessarily have a lot of deadlines. We're an 8-week course, so it's not like there is even room for a lot of deadlines. And two, we know our student schedules and different things makes it more difficult. We do have a few hard deadlines though that have to be met, basically because we as teachers have responsibilities that we have to make sure we have grades in at a certain point, different things that we have to have a cutoff period for those things. And so these are school policy deadlines that you will see. This is why it's important that I need you to watch this video, because when those come up, I usually try to send a couple reminders, but that way you've been told to hey, these are coming up. First one is test deadlines. So I'm going to put a week up here. Okay, we don't have school on Fridays. Here's a second week. Okay, and then I'm going to put Friday out here so that you see that, okay, this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Same thing on this week, okay? Now, let's say we take a test on a Tuesday of this week here, okay? And we take that test. Now, if you miss that test and don't take it that day, and let's say I do grades somewhere in here. I usually try to do grades towards the weekend. That way I have everything coming in. Sometimes I do them midweek, but let's say I grade it. You get a 0 because you've not turned it in. Especially at the beginning, like I said, your grade will drop pretty good. You will see that it's missing. You'll see the grade. Now, you will have, okay, here's the Friday of that week that we took the test. You will have until the following Friday to turn that in. It's a pretty gracious deadline. Gives you, a week and a half to turn that in with no penalties. And that's only on test. This is only on test. This has nothing to do with assignments. So you will have until the following Friday to turn that in with no penalty. But your grade may stay low until you turn it in because I've already graded them and put them in. Because otherwise, I'll have students writing me like on Thursday, Friday, like, hey, where's my grade? I have to grade them before that following Friday. So your grade may be low until you turn that in. It gives you a heads up. But if you turn it in before that Friday, I put it in there, no penalty. After that Friday, I cannot accept them. It has to stay a 0. That's a school policy. So that is why I'm stressing, make sure you are staying up with your test for sure, because those are really grade drivers. So make sure you get that in. Now, that doesn't matter which day you take the test of this week. Let's say you take it on this Thursday here. It is still the following Friday when that is due. Okay, so that does not change no matter what day you take the test on. It is due by the following Friday. Okay, so that is our test school deadline policy. Assignments are a little bit different. Just because we have them usually every day, I can't, got those Monday and Tuesday a little close together there. Can't have that. I need a little space to recover from Mondays. Assignments are a little bit different because, like I said, they're every day, and so I can't, and there's no necessarily school policy on, deadlines on that, but for one, it would be impossible for me to keep track of every assignment. I usually have over 100 students each term, so to try to keep track of who's turning in what late and what days, it's impossible for me to do that. Plus, we use our assignments as our attendance for each day. So really, technically, we need those in to count you present and be able to move on. So how that works for my class, and this could be different in other class, but how it works for my class is if you are online, if you're taking the class online, your assignment, that announcement with the assignment, will post at 12:01 a.m. So on Monday at 12:01 a.m., that assignment posts. Now that does not mean that you have to be up at 12:02 or that you stay up that late to do it, or that you wake up that early, depending on, if you're already in bed, to do that assignment. That's not what that means, okay? It just posts at that time so that you have a full 24-hour period to do that assignment, okay? Now, at 11:59 on Monday, that assignment is due. So that's what I mean by you have a full 24 hours. It's actually 23 hours and like 58 minutes, but you have pretty close to a full 24-hour period to turn that assignment in, okay? So if you turn it in that day, okay, let's say you turn it in at 3 o'clock, you turn it in, it shows me what time you turned it in, and the next day when I'm doing attendance for that day, okay, for me to mark you present for that day, that needs to be in, okay, that has to be in. I will, do attendance that way, I will count you present, and you will have it graded with no late penalties, okay? Meaning, whatever you get on it is what you receive on that score. No late penalties. Now, if you turn it in anytime after that, let's say you turn it in Tuesday or even later that week, Okay, I cannot go back and count you present, okay? We can't do that. That's not, it'd be the same if you were here. We do it the same as if you were here. If you came in the following day, say, hey, here's this assignment from the day before, we'll accept it, I grade it, but I can't count you present for a day that you weren't here. So as far as attendance wise, that's what counts. Now I do tardy sometimes. There's a grace period there. It still counts as an absence in our bonus, but yeah, and I'll get to this in a second. But it does, I think it helps a little bit with keeping track of that you are catching up right away and work the attendance. That's just me to help me kind of keep track. It doesn't really affect necessarily either way, but just know after that time period that it is considered late, okay? Now, when I say late penalty, okay, right now, and this is how I figure so that you see, and I'm just gonna use this example. If it's a 10-point assignment, now all my assignments are 10 points, some are 20, some are, just depending on what it is. I do a 30% reduction. So that means you would get a 7 on it. That's if you got the full points, that's the late deduction, okay? And so keep that in mind. If it's a 28-point assignment, that means it's 14 points that you get. I do a 30, like I said, 30% reduction, and so you would end up with 14, okay? So just keep that in mind. It's not necessarily, like we talked about, the assignments points wise are not as much as the test, so it's not gonna kill your grade, but it does kind of reflect that, hey, it would be better if I get this in that day that it's due. That way I can stay up, and it really is there to encourage you to keep up with that so that your test will be better. Like I said, it all goes towards letting you do better on your test, okay? So just keep that in mind. As far as that's usually how that goes for each day, so that you have an idea. Now the attendance bonus, okay, and a lot of our students have taken advantage of this. It does help. I've seen students go from C's to B's, and I've even seen students be just on the border of passing, and this actually helped them. I've seen students, go all the way up to the top that you can get, because this helps them raise their score. What this is at the end of the term, there will be an attendance bonus. And I'll probably have to remind everybody of a few of these rules on it, because I have to do kind of a strange way to put the score in, because it is an extra credit score. It's not a regular assignment, meaning it can't hurt you. Like if you go over these absences, it can't bring your score down. It can only help you, so I have to do it as an extra credit, which means I have to play around with the numbers a little bit, which as a math teacher I love, but it does look kind of weird. But what that is let's say you get to the end of the term, you only had 0, 1 absence or tardy, okay? Meaning you were there every day on time, had your stuff turned in on time every day. And they give you 1 grace 1, okay? Then you can actually have 5% of your grade go up. So let's say you had a 92 at the end of the term and you never missed, or you missed 1 day, you can get a 97, okay? It can go up 5%. Let's say you had an 88 and you never missed, that plus 5 takes you to an A, okay? So keep that in mind, it does help. It actually helps you with your score. So that 0 to 1, if you miss twice, you can get up to 4%. Same thing with 3%, 4 times 2%. You miss 5 times, or tardy 5 times, 1%, okay? And if you miss more than that, then nothing is added to your score. You can't hurt you, doesn't bring your score down, but you don't have anything added. Now, the one kind of rule with that, though, is the attendance bonus cannot put you over 100%. So that's where I get questions at the end of the term, because I've had students with like a 98 that never missed. And so I can't add that full 5% to put them at a 103. I can't go above 100 with the attendance bonus. So I can only add 2%, but it does take them right to 100%. which is nice, you know, it shows you had a perfect score. And so at the end, when that happens, maybe the attendance bonus is like 35 points, and because I can't have you go to 100, maybe I can only give you like 22 points, and I have students write me, hey, I never missed, why didn't I get the full? Well, that would be the reason why, is I can't put more than, to take you more than 100%, okay? So that is our attendance bonus, right? So hopefully that answers those questions going in. Now I will make, like I said, personalized videos for each class to really go over how each assignment is going, because my PE class will be different than like my math class and so on. So that way you can you need to watch that so you know how you'll be turning in your assignments. And I'll hopefully can show you a little bit of Google in that to walk you through, you know, how I'm looking for those to be turned in. Any questions, feel free to message me. Real quick with Google Classroom, that you've obviously signed up to be watching this video, but the Google Classroom has, you know, it has the stream, okay, and that's what you're watching this video on. It has the classwork tab, and then it also has a people tab, okay, and the stream is where, you know, I will put the announcement like, hey, here is your video for today. Watch this video, turn in your assignment. The assignment turn-in spot will be here, okay, on the classwork. That's where you usually turn those in. And then if you check out the people page, you'll see the other people in your class, and you'll also see my name and Director Cole and our curriculum developer. And so you can see those names there. If you click on my name, it'll have, you can send me a message directly. And just keep in mind, anything you post on the stream, everybody can see. So, you know, if you're putting like, hey, Mr. Ely, why did I get that grade? You know, what were you thinking? You know, I'm just kidding around, but you know, just know everybody can see it. So just keep that in mind. And you know, if you message someone, then it goes directly to them. You can also put private messages on your assignments. So like, let's say you turn something in and you want to say something on it, like, you know, just that I see, you can put, you know, hey, I didn't understand number 3, or hey, what was wrong with this one? So keep that in mind as well, that those are private comments that you can put on your actual assignment that you turn in. All right? So, all right, we'll look forward to it, and make sure you watch the second video of your personalized class video, okay? Thanks, guys.